All right, so we just learned that you can make pages in Next.js, but you might be asking, okay, Wes, well, like, how do I do a layout? How do I get a little bit higher? And the reality is that in Next.js, a page is as high as you can get inside of it. We're just returning a div. Like, where's the HTML tag? Where's the head of the document? Where's all that other stuff that you're used to writing in an HTML? Like, let me show you real quick. If we open up an HTML document, and you type exclamation mark tab, like where's all this? The doc type, the HTML, the char set, language on the HTML document, all of that. Where's the body tag, right? Well, everything inside of the page just gets dumped into the body. And if you want control either over a layout component that shows up on every page, or you want control over the stuff that shows up in here, that's what this video is going to do. We're going to get into that. So let's start by the very simplest. How would I get something like the nav to show up on every single page? Well, you might think, okay, let's make a page component. So we're going to go into our components folder and make a new file, and we'll call it capital P page.js. And let's make a function called capital P page, and we'll export default that because we're going to be importing it. And then from there, we'll return, let's just return a div for now. And we'll just put a h2, doesn't really matter what one, we'll delete this. Just say, I am the page component, right? Okay, good. Now, if I wanted that to show up on every single page in here, how do we do that? Well, you might think, okay, let's go to our index page here and let's start using that page component. So instead of having a div here, let's replace it with a page component, right? You notice that that's a capital P. That's because it is reusable in React. Now, right away when I save, you'll see first we've got these little red squigglies under here. It says page is not defined, and it's showing up in here. Now, these red squigglies, this is my ESLint config. I have installed it, and I've also included the settings in your package JSON. So for you to actually get it up and running, you just need to install the VS Code ESLint plugin. It probably is working already. If it's not, I'm not going to go into it in this because it changes so often, but I do have these settings and all the instructions both on WesBoss ESLint config, as well as if you just Google no sweat ESLint and prettier, I have a YouTube video showing you how, and that's updated all the time, showing you how to get it working so that you can get the feedback here. So why is that happening? Well, that's happening because we haven't imported that page. So we know in React is if you create a component here, it will not be accessible until you import it. So what we could do here is we go to the top and say import page from quotes. Okay, so now we are in the pages directory and our page is in the components directory. So if we take a look here, we're here. We need to go up a level and then into components and then into page. So dot up, okay. Then we go into the components directory, and then we go into and grab our page. One kind of cool thing, and I'm going to be using this quite a bit in this course, is VS Code's auto import. So instead of having to type this every single time, what we can do is we go to the thing where it says it's not defined. You can hit your control space bar, and that will open up this, and you'll see auto import. And usually it's either one of these square cubes that's purple, or it's one of these, I don't even know what that is, like a chocolate bar with squares in it. You can auto import it, click on it, and you'll see that it figured out because we already called it, because we called it page here. It knows, oh, I can auto import that in from there. Now there's one more squiggly. Once I give that a save, boop, it turns over. And the reason why that happened is because I have my settings set up to use single quotes, and it will auto import it with double quotes. But once I give it a save, both the ESLint and the prettier that's running in that config I showed you will auto fix it for you, which is awesome. Again, if that auto fix is not working, look at the docs for the ESLint, and it will show you how to get that up and running. Okay, cool. So now we have a page component, and we are wrapping each of our pages in it. So page, it says hello, but it says I am the page component. So the next question I have is, why is this not showing up? Well, that's because if we look at our page component here, you'll note that we are actually not rendering out anything to it. So what we do is we render out the children of that component. So if you take a look, let's look at our React Dev Tools here. We'll go into our components, and I can't make it bigger for whatever reason. React Dev Tools has done this forever. But if we take a look at look for our page component, here we go. You see that our child of our page component right here is P. There's a paragraph, and that is this. If I put another, maybe I put a code and say var, you'll see now our array there's a paragraph and a code. So in order to render out the children that we passed to our page component, we simply go into our page component and simply curly brackets, and we need to render out the children. Now again, this children variable is not defined. Where do we get it from? Well, you get it from props.children, and the props of a component in React can be taken in via the arguments of the function. So it normally looks like this, props, and then we go here and we say props.children, and you see, there we go. There's our hello, and there's our var showing up. And now we're rendering out anything that gets passed to the page, or anything that is a child of the page component. I am a child, then gets rendered out to that. Okay, cool. One more thing, we got a bit of a squiggly showing up here. Children is missing in props, and you must use destructuring assignment. So what normally happens is, instead of just passing props and referencing all the children, you destructure this props argument into the actual props that you need. And the way that that works is, instead of just props variable, you destructure, that's curly brackets, children, and then if we had any other values that were passed to that as props, we could get them there, and then it's just simply children. So let me show you once more. Is if we took this page and we said, I don't know, cool is equal to heck yeah, and we went here, and now we can destructure the cool prop, and we could display that cool prop in here. Right, so there we go. That it's being passed as a prop called cool here, and then it is accessible via the function props like this. It is still showing us some little red squigglies here, and that is because it is missing in props validation. So that's not an error, but if you want to do prop types, I can show you how that would work. We take our page and we say dot prop types, capital T is equal to that, and then we say cool is going to be equal to a prop types dot string. Now we need to import that. It looks like the auto import isn't working for that one. Maybe it's just prop types. I'm not sure what the name of it is, so we can just manually import it. So import prop types from, and then it's prop dash types, and you see the cool is no longer showing up. That's pretty introductory React stuff. I'm not going to write the prop types for absolutely every single thing. You can do it if you're using TypeScript. You probably aren't even using prop types. And I've shown many times in my other courses how to use it. So I'll show you in this one. Again, the children is not there. So we say children, and it's prop types dot. And you can see we've got all of the possible ones that we have here. String, object, Boolean, function, node, and it would be an array of node. Oh, it's prop types dot node. There we go. That's showing up. Let's go to our console, make sure everything looks good. Refresh, and good. No errors. It's favicon. We'll deal with that in just a bit. Okay, so that is working. Now the question is, if I go to /cell, now the whole thing doesn't work again. So let's go to our cell page. So cell.js. Now do we have to put the page, we have to do the whole song and dance, the page component in there, import it. Good, that came in there. And now it's working again. Maybe we'll say, hello, I am the cell page. And that now shows up, but we've got this error here. Invalid prop, children, type, supplied to page, expected an array. And I think that's because it's expecting an array of nodes. And in our case, it's just one node. If we put another paragraph tag there, I bet it goes away. Yeah, it does go away. So how do we fix that? You can go back to your prop types here, and you can say we want an array of nodes, or we want just a single node. So you could say prop types dot one of, and then you square bracket, you could say one of an array of nodes, or prop types dot node. And that will allow us to either take a single node or an array, but then also you could pass a number. It just gets a little bit confusing because children could be anything. So what you can do in that case is just prop types dot any and say anything you pass me down, just render it out. So that's a good use case for any. It literally could be anything in that case. So what we did there is we wrapped it in a page. So you might be saying, okay, Wes, do I have to wrap every single page that I make in that page component? Like, is there not some sort of global layout that I can wrap the entire thing is? So anytime a page gets created, we wrap it in that. And the answer to that is yes. There are two special files in Next.js that will allow us to get access both to the everything inside of the body, as well as you can go a little bit higher and get everything in the head of the document. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the first one, which is our app component. We'll go into our pages directory and make a new file. It's going to be _app.js. So very little in Next.js is special. The only special things are you must have a pages directory with your pages in it. And if you want to control anything a little higher than the page component, you must do it in your app.js file. And then what we'll do in here, so we'll make a export default function. We'll call it my app. And from that, we will return. And this is where you can actually take your page component that we made, and then we'll render out any children that are passed down. Now, Next.js is a little bit differently here. You might think, okay, just children, right? But it's a little bit different as it's a prop of the app component here. It's the capital C component prop. And we also need the page props that are passed down. And here we just use our component. And then we will spread ... page props into it. Okay, good. Now you see a couple squiggles here. This is prop types. I'm going to turn that off in future videos. I thought I would leave it in just for the first few, just so you can see. Also, you probably will run into that in your own project. So I didn't want to turn it off, and you can hide it. And then this is no prop spreading. I'll turn that one off as well, because I honestly, it's my own config, but I believe it's totally fine. There's no harm in there. If you're ever wondering like why, you can click through to it and see. It's not bad, but just like why it is a possible rule. All right, so we have that. Now, if we go to our website now, if you go to a page, well, I'm on the cell page here. We still see I'm a page component. We'll go to our cell.js. Let's take that off now and simply just have a paragraph tag. And you'll notice, okay, well, our page component's not working. I believe we have to do a quick little refresh here. So kill it, return, rerun npm run dev, and then refresh this page, and there we go. Now it's showing up. So that is one of the few situations where you do need to kill your build and start it again, just because we're doing a foundational thing. And that might not even be true. That might have changed in a recent version of React. So now we have our page component. Now if I go to any other page, like the home page, you'll see we have double page components now. Why? Because we no longer need to wrap every single page in this page component, because it is being done globally in our _app.js. So let's go ahead and remove that. And if you do want to return multiple elements that are adjacent to each other, we can wrap it in what are called React fragments. And they look like this, which is basically ghost tags. They do nothing in our case. So that's awesome. We can get rid of this import here. We can get rid of this import here, and we are in good shape. Last thing we want to do is we also want to make a custom document. We'll be modifying our app and our document as we get more into data loading. But for now, we want to make a custom document layout. We'll go into our pages here and make an _document. .js. And again, we'll export default. And this is a little bit weird as well. Not necessarily weird, but this is one of the few places where we will be using a class in our code. I guess there is no API for just function based. So we have class, my document. It extends capital D document. And we got to import that. Import document from next / document. Okay, and then inside of here we have a render method. So this is classes in React have a render method, and that's the same thing as just returning from here. This course is going to be done primarily or entirely in functions and hooks, and will not really be using these classes outside of this one file, just because Next.js currently at the time of recording does not have an API for hooks or anything like that. So render from there, we need to return, and this is a little bit funky as well. Capital HTML, that needs to be imported from Next as well. Capital HTML. We also, while we're here, let's just grab the rest. Capital H head, Next script, and main. And then in here, this is your HTML tag. And if you have any custom attributes that you need to put on your HTML tag, like a lang attribute, in my case, I'm Canadian, so I want to say it is written in Canadian. And inside of that, you have a capital H head tag. And we will be putting stuff in there. We actually don't need that for now, so you can comment it out. We'll come back to that for style components in just a second. Then we do a regular body tag. That's not a custom one. And we have our main, and we have our next script. And this is just boilerplate that Next.js usually tucks away for themselves. But the reason why we do that is because we need access to be able to do custom HTML attributes, as well as we need the ability to stick our CSS inside of the head, which we're going to run into in just a second. One thing I haven't done here is you got to return this. And that is looking pretty good. This is not going to change anything except the fact that we should see a lang show up on our HTML tag. So if I refresh this, it's not showing up. Probably need to kill it and rerun npm run dev. And there we go. Our HTML lang is showing up. And I don't believe there are any issues showing up. No, we're in good shape here. Okay, so good. I know that one is a little bit hairy. Like, what's the point of that, Wes? That will make sense. This is just a bit of setup. In the next video, let's jump into actually creating a nav on that page component.